is now. A new year, a new era.
Welcome, one and all, to our second race of the day. We are here in Australia for the start of NAEU Season 6. Welcome, everyone. I hope that everyone is having a great day or night wherever you are watching from around the world. And we are excited here as we're going to start a brand new season with a brand new division. This is Division 2 of North America EU. So this is already, we are setting brand new records and we are in uncharted territory. I am your host, GameHawk, here for North America. And with me today for Division 2 is none other than the one, the only Wildcat. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I'm slightly exhausted from Div 1 race. Like that was a race for that might have been a race for the ages. It was chaotic. It was fun. Yeah, I mean, got to race against a couple of guys that one of them I haven't raced with in about a year or two, and it was definitely fun being able to do battle with these guys again.
Yeah, and I mean, and I guess for everyone who's watching, we did just finish the Div 1 race that Wildcat was a part of. If you guys are interested, you guys can either go back on Twitch and watch it while it's there, or you guys can subscribe to the Rush Racing YouTube and you guys can go back and watch it. But I agree with you, Wildcat. Commentating that race, I don't think I could have prepared myself for what everything that I witnessed in that race. I mean, everything was just so many safety cars, so many wrecks, and like you said, doing battles, like so many battles as well. So I mean, I'm with you. It was just not what I was expecting.
It most definitely wasn't. I mean, honestly, I was looking at it like, I mean, from the standpoint of looking at everybody we had involved in Div 1, and from the fastest guy to the very back and the slowest guy, some of them are in reserve. Div 1 is covered by a second and a half in total. That's it. So there's no margin or room for error in qualifying, in races, anything. It's like you make a mistake and you're truly gonna pay for it. And so that race had everything in it. It was hard-nosed racing from start to finish, front to back. It didn't matter where you were fighting for everything you got.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you completely. I think that was one thing that was we originally saw in qualifying, that like a lot of the drivers were right, like as you said, within a second and a half of each other, and then you get to the race, and I think the craziest part for me was that usually you see maybe a couple drivers really take over and get all the way ahead of the grid, but we saw that, or even in first place, Meraki Dawn, he was in first place. Second place was 2 seconds behind. As you got closer to the end of the race, second place actually made up time and I think finished only a second and a half behind Meraki Dawn. So the pace is there, and I think that's one thing that I was very surprised about, was that I wasn't necessarily expecting the pace to be so equal across the whole grid.
And honestly, that was a big shock to me as well. And I mean, looking at it from a driver standpoint, I mean, in my head I was kind of doubting my own ability to an extent. And when granted, we had issues in qualifying, but that's its own fair share of other drama. But when I set my final lap and qualified ahead of Low Pro, that to me kind of it put me on a high. I was like, yeah, you know what? This is going to be a good race. I don't care how it goes. It's just going to be a good day, because I've honestly never out qualified Low Pro ever since he's been in Rush League. And to me, I felt like a weight was lifted. So I mean, it Division 1, it's going to be a division of tight, hard-nosed racing. It's virtually not going to be any room for error. no margin for anybody to really kind of just fall asleep on anybody. It's gonna actually come down to actually having to work for it this season.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely having had done the interviews. Meraki Dawn did win the Division 1 race, and I'm definitely still going to pronounce his name wrong. I'm going to try my best, but Money also he got P2, and then Kellogg and the Kick Sauber got P3. And I mean, getting a podium there at the start of the race is like absolutely something that's going to help you in terms of like what you're talking about, like confidence and things like that. But talking about going over to this Division 2, brand new division, never seen before in Rush, almost an entirely new grid. There's a couple names on here that we've seen before, such as Nemesis, Harold, Dr. J, Nishka, Ngai, and of course the Governor. But a lot of these drivers are actually very kind of brand new. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on the division? Because I'm very excited to see how this is going to go.
I am too. I mean, I'm expecting a lot from some of the guys that returned from last season that we know are veterans to Rush. They've been around for a while, like Dr. J, who I mean he's kind of the old guy. He's kind of the old guy in the grid, honestly. I mean, he's been around for a while. I mean, he races his heart out regardless, but. So, I mean, I'm expecting to see something out of him, given it's a division where times are closer, so you're not necessarily, oh, this person, got 2 seconds a lap on me, so why am I even trying? You just say, screw it, I'm just going to go with the motion. Whereas you got H-Town in here, who's a return, who I know is a very good driver. He can be strong and competitive at any given point. Nemesis, the same way. Harold, they both have some very good racecraft when it comes to racing each other. The finale last season, I caught those two at closing on the final lap to get involved in their battle for P4 at the end. I just didn't have enough to actually pull any overtake on them. And then you've got Ngai, who's been around for a while, and he's actually pretty excited from what he's told me that he's gonna have a teammate this season. Granted, I don't think his teammate showed up today, but I'm thinking going forward he should be all right. Then we've got the Governor and Barry, who we both know have been around. Barry can be absolutely rapid in his own right when he actually hooks it up, and so can the Governor. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. And then John BT as well, another return. So, I mean, a lot of these new guys, I feel like they've got their work cut out for them, like Bookie and Bruiser and Hal Spirit, Rare Ghost, Koopa, Suspension, Gianni. These guys, they've got work to do to kind of show, hey, we can run with these guys that have been here for a while. And I mean, Div 2 is slower than Div 1, but it's not that far off, honestly. And so I'm expecting to see some close, hard-nosed racing like we did in Div 1.
Yeah, and I think that definitely it will be close. I mean, as we were talking about, we're right now with 8 minutes left here in qualifying. Right now, H-Town has the provisional pole at 1:17.036. And if you look down the grid, it's only 1 second that separates P1 to P9. And then even from P9 to P13, again, that's just barely within a second. Actually, now to P14, it's within a second. So, like, as we said before, the grid is really tight knit together, and I'm very and I guess I'm just repeating what you said, but I mean, I just completely agree with it. I'm just very interested to see the kind of clash between veterans such as, like, as you were talking about, H-Town, Ngai, the Governor, Barry, versus the new ones, the new people like Bookie, Tinzo, Bruiser, Howell. It's going to be very interesting to see how these two kind of almost classes of drivers are going to compete with each other as, I mean, brand new division, brand new grid, basically. And I mean, I'm just excited. I'm legit just excited to see how it's all going to go.
I mean, I'm looking over here at the sector times right now, and from what I'm telling here, Tenzo set the fastest first sector with a 26.6. whereas H-Town holds the fastest middle sector with a 17 flat, and fastest in the third sector is Bruiser. But in looking at these times, these guys are neck and neck through sector 1 and sector 3. So it looks like sector 2 is what's really going to make the bigger difference here. And as I say that, Bruiser goes in to clock the first sub 17 of the day with a minute 16.983 to take provisional pole position.
And I think just get rid of that again, because Harold beats Bruiser and sets a 116.973, just only 10 hundredths ahead of Bruiser. I think we're starting to see some competition now between the old and the young, because I mean Bruiser H-Town has it originally. Bruiser takes it away from him, and then Harold takes it away from Bruiser. So already we're seeing the competition as all of these drivers are just fighting, and so far only two sub 1 minute 17 times right now. But you know what's crazy is that in Div 1, the pole time was made by Tai, and it was a 1 minute 14.919. I don't know if we're going to see a time like that today, but that was, so far, this has been insane.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I was looking at that, and I was actually in our team chat talking to Meraki Don about it, and I was like, what the hell? Like, well, I don't know where Tai pulled that. It's like Tai on one lap pace, it's like he gets possessed by a demon, and he just hooks it up on the last. And Meraki kind of made a point in a fact that he was just going to go on full attack out the gate, and we know Meraki can make those amazing starts. And he did exactly what he needed to do, being the defending champion. He showed exactly what it takes and what you got to do to get the job done. And he did it exactly as he needed to, didn't put a foot wrong all day. So I'm kind of hoping to see if any of these veteran guys can actually do the same, replicate some of the same. And with Harold sitting on provisional pole and H-Town in P3, Nemesis P4, I'm pretty sure it's going to get pretty spicy as Barry just now climbs up into P5 with his second run. So, I mean, I'm looking at some pretty spicy racing going forward here from Division 2.
Yeah, I really couldn't agree more. I don't think I could say it better either. I am going to need your help. Tenzo said that his game crashed, so if you would be able to help me and invite him back into the lobby, as we can get him back in. He said that we'll get it restarted, but roughly 3.5 minutes to go here in qualifying. And so far, like we said, really close lap time so far. I mean, he said it, still from P1 to P10, it's within a second. And then even from P10 down to P15 is within a second as well. So the whole grid is right there. And I really feel like in Division 1, it kind of feels like you know who the top drivers are. You can kind of tell, like, Meraki Don being the defending champion, he's going to be someone to look out for. Illyrian is going to be someone to look out for. Low Pro as well. All of those guys are going to be out to look for. And I feel like in Div 2, there's not quite the same amount of, like, idea about who's going to dominate, just because of how close these times are. And I mean, qualifying is not the race. Definitely not the race. So it's just going to be very interesting to see how the race goes compared to how qualifying is going right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I'm looking at it here. So far, I mean, John DT, honestly, that's a kind of a surprise for me, with him being at the bottom with a 122, because I remember there was a race or two last season where John DT actually got me in qualifying. Granted, some of it was to my own accord, some of it was due to impeding in qualifying, but John DT is going on an outlap now to fire in his second run, which will be his last run. So I'm interested to see if he's going to actually climb up out of the bottom of the grid.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to say the same about some of these guys at the top of the grid as well. I mean, H-Town set that screamer of a lap, and you can see though, right now, him and Nemesis are on their outlaps right now. Mishka and the Governor are on their outlaps as well. So with time whittling down, as we right now, as we hit the 1 minute and a half mark, this is probably going to be the last opportunity for a lot of these drivers. So I'm really interested to see if H-Town is going to be able to get that hit back and see if he can try and reclaim that provisional pole.
Honestly, I feel like these guys, if they time coming out the pit just right and they maximize the track evolution on top of everything, we may very well see a pole time. I'm gonna make a prediction. I mean, it might be a little bit wild and crazy, but I'm gonna say pole time of, let's say, 16.6. And John loses it in the gravel on the switchback corner, but saves it.
That was a very impressive.
That's going to be his run done.
That is going to be his run done, but I will say that that was a very impressive save that he was able to save that and keep the car from crashing. Oh, but H-Town goes off track in sector 1 and his time is invalidated. So he's not going to be able to set another time now for the rest for qualifying. But Nemesis right now, he's the next best player, or the next best driver to try and get into that, because Bruiser is still on his outlap. He's going to cross the line right before time expires. So we'll see what time. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just noticing. I'm a little curious as to Harold decided to stay in the pit and not take the chip at his final run. So I'm figuring he might have actually gave it everything he had in his second run early on. And if that was the case, he probably should have saved it for right now, because track evolution if he loses his pole, it might come down to lost by track evolution, not so much as that he couldn't crank out the time. So I'm a little curious as to why he may have done that, but as we see, times are pouring in. Nemesis has solidified P4 behind H-Town. Bruiser's on his outlap right now currently he's actually on his final flyer as he's coming through sector 3 now. And Bruiser actually has set the fastest sector 2 of anybody. We might have a rocket on pole right now.
Yeah, it
would be a B card. It's a B card.
It's gonna come down to this last part, the last DRS straight, and he does! He grabs it! A 116.8, and he takes pole position away from Harold. So we have a new pole sitter.
And these guys in Div 2 are not joking around, because I'm looking at what Bruiser just did, and Bruiser's pole time is actually my qualifying time from Div 1.
So if you want to go ahead,
he's only off by a couple hundredths of me. So I mean, if that has anything to say about how fast Div 1 and Div 2 are, it's really not a whole lot out of it. And you look down, we're going down to P12 covered in a second before there's another before there's another gap, and even then the gaps are not that big. So this race is going to be pretty close and tight.
Yeah. And I am going to need your help. Tinzo is asking for a re-invite back to the race. I do not have them added, so I need your help to do that, as the drivers are going to set up their strategies for the race. And, I mean, we saw in the first race, I think the first race was the example of... It was very strange, because you had the original strategies, you had the original plans of what everyone wanted to do, but the safety cars just kind of threw everything out of whack. And when that happens, it just kind of becomes a every man for themselves almost.
Absolutely. And I mean, the strategy that I was talking to Meraki Don, and his idea was that maybe I should have thrown the softs on and tried to shoot up some places early on in the race. But a part of me kind of felt, I was like, you know what? No, there might be an early safety car. There might be some chances to move up late in the stint, and then late in the race, if I'm on the softer, faster compound, I can make some moves up the grid at the end of the race and bring it home in a decent position. So I mean, I'm interested to see what strategies these guys go on. Who's going to start on the hards? Who's bringing the mediums? Who may make that gamble and say, you know what, screw it, chuck on the sauce? Because the tire day around Australia actually was not as bad as what it was to be expected. So who can actually extend their stints and carry these tires? But as we know, the undercut can be quite powerful.
Yeah, and there is no doubt about that. I mean, you can really win or lose your race depending on your strategy and when you choose to pit. Because, I mean, we saw that in the first race where there was a questionable call where some of the drivers chose to pit instead of staying out. And that basically let Meraki Dawn win. But, I mean, here we go. I'm assuming that the drivers are finalizing their strategies, as hopefully we are making sure that everything is all ready and set up. And at least hopefully, we always hope that despite some of the issues that we've had in terms of server errors or other issues that we've had with the online services, we do hope that everything is going to go at least somewhat according to plan. I mean, that's always kind of the hope. And there we go. All the drivers are ready in 5 lights time. And we are underway here in Division 2 for North America, Season 6. And it looks like the Racing Bull of Bruiser is going to get a fantastic start. A virtual safety car deployed immediately as suspension did not start off the grid. So immediately a virtual safety car deployed. I'm not entirely sure. I believe he's still sitting there. There he goes. He will get it. But he was disqualified
from the session.
So already our first DNF suspension. He did set a qualifying lap, but then he just wasn't able to go. I don't know if something happened or if he just didn't go. But that is going to be the first disqualification. It wasn't a full safety car, but just a virtual safety car. And everyone, all the drivers are going to be in single file.
Oh, that was quite an interesting start. I'm not sure what happened with suspension, honestly. But looking at it, H-Town also had a fantastic start. He managed to jump Harold as well, so he's now up in the P2. Bruiser was an absolute rocket off the start, and H-Town is right up Bruiser's keister, looking to make the move. And these guys are not messing around.
No, they are not. And I mean, this is where it comes into qualifying pace versus race pace. Because sometimes you can have a very fast qualifying pace, but sometimes if you have a faster race pace, that can mean just a little bit more in terms of, especially including like what you can get out of your tires. And it's going to be very interesting as now we finish the first lap. Excuse me, DRS is enabled as Bruiser will set the fastest lap. That probably won't stay for long because of the virtual safety car. But already, H-Town maybe falling a little bit behind Bruiser, but he is holding his own against Harold. And I mean, looking down the grid, our predictions are so far true. Very close, very tight, as everyone is roughly within a second of each other.
Most definitely. I mean, Bruiser's doing what he needs to do so far. He broke the DRS, and he's looking to try and open that gap so that H-Town doesn't have the DRS. But what that's going to end up doing is Harold is then going to end up being able to attack H-Town because he doesn't have the DRS, and that's going to become an ERS battery management kind of race. Because Harold will just continue to attack him with DRS and save his battery until the right time and pull away. So. And there you go. H-Town's already on offering up the defense to try and stay in it, and while he's trying to close that gap back to Bruiser, but Bruiser's not having it. He's checking out.
We had a little bit of a moment as the governor in P5 was able to overtake Barry, but he had to brake a little bit more to be able to get around that turn, and I think Barry lost a end plate. Yes, he did lose an end plate. So already maybe a little bit of drama, but I was going to say, I agree with you that, and I mean, especially we saw from the first lap or the first race that consistency is going to be a huge thing to see. And you can already kind of see with the leaders that they're all sticking next to each other. And I mean, so far, very, very close together, very tight-knit group, maybe even more so than we saw in Div 1.
Oh, absolutely. Like these guys are keeping it very clean. Like I'm looking, following the track map right now, and two, you only got maybe two drivers that are actually way back from the pack, but I mean, you got about three different packs that have already formed up in DRS training. So these guys are not messing around in the slightest. And
Oh, what a move by Harold. I mean, if you want a definition of what a switchback looks like, I think that you would have to clip that and just use that. Harold had a beautiful switchback as H-Town wanted to defend, but Harold able to go back to the inside, and Harold moves up into P2. That was beautiful.
that's kind of what I was talking about. Like H-Town was gonna, at some point, he was gonna have to give way to Harold if he wants to actually stay in this race and fight later in the race. I mean, it'd be a smart idea. Just kind of hang with him. Don't push. Don't kill your tires right out the gate. I mean, some of these guys, I'm kind of curious. Like these guys have the strategies are in play, so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to go for the undercut on who and when. I mean, pretty much everybody started on that medium tire, so the strategy is kind of up in the air on who may go for the gamble and say go for a medium soft or medium hard, or go for the medium hard one stop. There's many different things that can happen. Safety cars, as we saw in Div 1, they do happen, and that can also change the race and completely flip the running order.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, just depending on what happens in the race can flip the race on its head, and we didn't end up seeing a completely different outcome. But again, with the strategy, I did pull up the tires, and I mean, there's only a certain amount of drivers that did start on the hard compound. The highest right now is Bruiser on the mediums is leading the race, and then N-Guy is on the hards, and he is currently in P11. Howell is on the hards as well. Ben in the Ferrari is on the hards, and John is on the hards as well. So mediums are the overall consensus, it seems like, at least for the starting pace. But we kind of saw earlier that I think if Illyrian also started on the hards, and I think that if he didn't have that pitting mistake where he may have gotten the wrong tires put on, I think that there was a good chance he could finish high. So I'm really curious to see if that strategy comes into play here, as a lot of these drivers right now are settling into a little bit of a groove.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I'm looking like I started when in Div 1, I said, screw it. I'm going to start on the hards and take the long run, because something could happen down the line late and it work into your favor, come into your pit window, or, you know, give you that ability to be able to extend just a little bit longer on the hards, maybe, you know, have that little bit fresher tire at the end to attack, maybe make a move or two at the end. And so, I mean, the hard tire isn't a bad compound to start on if you know how to actually manage the start and not lay down too much rubber off the start, being a heavy foot trying to just get going. So, I mean, these guys on the hard tire that are at the back right now, it could be a completely different story late in the race if they pit and come out on mediums while the other guys are already on fired up hard tires that have a 5, 6, maybe 10 laps in them, and these guys start attacking from the back and making moves up and climbing into the top 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, because I mean, anything can happen. I mean, a safety car as well would with bunching everyone up could also really benefit them, because I mean, you get the free pit stop as well to pit. So I mean, right now we're still in the very early stages of the race. We're currently on lap 6 out of 29, so still got a lot of racing to go. So far, still relatively close. Harold is roughly 1.8 behind Bruiser. H-Town though, H-Town and Nishka catching on to Harold right now. So right now P2 is probably the next highest position in danger right now.
Honestly, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, Harold is Harold is holding his own, which tells me he's probably managing his battery very well at this point to be able to hold that, to be able to hold position. Because H-Town, as we saw, just took a peek in it going into turn one, so he's already thinking, when and where can I attack him to make this work? And when you're coming down the main street with DRS, and then you come out of turn two, you get DRS again. That's leaving a lot of vulnerability if you waste it on your battery trying to defend down the main straight. And then if you're going through sector 2 into sector 3, you've got 2 back-to-back DRS zones there as well. So it then becomes kind of a strategy game of when do I attack, when do I use my battery, do I let the guy through now, or do I let him go through later? Do I fight now to lose later, or do I let him go now and then come back at the end? So it's a lot. It takes a lot of. You gotta be smart. You can't just think, oh, I've got the pace, so he's not gonna catch me, because that can always easily get flipped the other way. Where we saw in Div 1 with Tai and drivers like Bide and Illyrian, like those guys got caught way out of position today, when we know they can be absolutely rapid.
Yeah, and I don't think really anyone has any. I think everyone knows that they are by far the fastest drivers on the grid in terms of just Division 1. And I'm still watching this battle at the lead. I mean, Harold is losing a little bit of pace to Bruiser. There's a caution sector 3, and Ngai spun onto the front straightaway. No caution called. Yeah, no safety car called, as Ngai did spin. So we avoid the safety car for at least right now. But, sorry, back to the lead. Harold is still losing a little bit of time to Bruiser, but H-Town is also right outside of DRS range, and that may give Nishka the best opportunity. And yes, right there, Nishka has DRS. H-Town did not. So now may be the perfect opportunity for Nishka to overtake P3.
And what you were saying, as far as Harold losing pace, his last, Bruiser's last lap was a minute 21.708, and Harold's last lap was actually a minute 21.687. So Harold's actually he's marginally right there with Bruiser on pace. They're matching each other. So it honestly, it just kind of comes down to who's got the setup in it to be able to actually manage the tires based on driving style, the way they made the setup, how aggressive they're actually attacking the corners. And with H-Town now falling away from Harold out of that DRS, that just gave him breathing room to be able to say, okay, now I don't have to worry about the defense. I can go full attack and try to run down Bruiser. So I'm looking here in another about 5-6 laps time. The pit stops are going to be very crucial on when you get it done, because the tire difference may be what makes the difference in this race.
Yeah, and talking about breathing room, Nishka got a 3-second time penalty for track limits violations. So talk about breathing room, and we didn't really see a whole ton of penalties in Div 1 that we could really think about and talk about. But so far here, it's been at Australia, it's been a lot of mostly track limits, but it will definitely come into a factor, especially 3 seconds is a long time. And especially if a safety car comes out, a penalty can really drop you to the back of the grid.
Absolutely. And as you were saying that, I was kind of looking at the timing sheets, and Harold just set a lap. His last lap was actually half a second quicker than Bruiser. So there could be something there. Bruiser may have had just a slight error, or it could be the tire wear. But I got a feeling that the fight for the win is not over yet.
Yeah, and I do agree with you there. I do not think that the fight for the lead is over by any stretch of the imagination. And I think it will just be interesting to see, as we do see a couple of people start to pit, namely the Governor, Rare Ghost, and Dr. J all pit, and they all put on the hard compound. So I think, again, for the battle for the lead, I think the interesting part about it is going to be, when are these leaders going to pit for probably the hard compound? and we talked about it in the qualifying. We talked about like the undercut. So it's gonna be very interesting to see if maybe Harold, for example, would try to undercut Bruiser, but I'm not entirely sure yet.
I'm thinking it is possible. I mean, we do know that the governor, he's quite the smart racer, and he just put those hards on. And as we saw in preseason, the governor can actually take the hard tires quite the distance. So he's probably going to take these to the end with no issues. And as we see, Nishka just went into the pit and sold H-Town a dummy. Now, let's see if H-Town does respond and come in the next lap, or does he stay out for a little longer? Because if Nishka actually gets this done and comes out quick enough and actually is able to cling on to traffic, get some DRS, and make a couple moves quickly, he may very well pull off the undercut on H-Town.
Yeah, that's a very real possibility, but I feel like that is also going to put a lot more pressure on these top two, Bruiser and Harold, because right now Harold is now within a half second to Bruiser, but now with Nishka, a leader behind them, trying to go for the undercut, I'm really curious to see if that's going to affect the two leaders, because they still have to pit. The top five right now, actually the top six, all do still need to pit. So I'm not entirely sure. Tenzo will officially retire from the session, and the safety car is deployed. That's going to deploy the safety car. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
Wait, was it Tenzo?
Yeah, it says it was Tenzo.
I did see that he did manage to get back in the lobby, so I'm not entirely sure what may have happened there.
So now that will start the safety car. So now we will see the Bruiser does maintain the lead, but as you can see, everyone flooding into the pits to get their tires changed. Everyone switching immediately to the hard compound as we had predicted. So I guess this really kind of makes it an interesting predicament. We talked about a safety car putting everyone back together, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Absolutely, and I mean, I'm looking at what this actually just did, because the governor actually dove back in the pits again for a set of mediums. Not exactly sure why he did, or why he didn't just stay out and kind of, say, okay, this is my chance. I could creep up some positions with the safety car out. And he could have found himself in a really good spot, whereas, Nishka actually it seemed like Nishka actually had the perfect timing on the pit, and it worked all too well for the leaders, because now they didn't actually lose any kind of time, and they pretty much ineffectively gained the free pit stop.
Yeah, and I mean, that is definitely going to, it is a question. I guess we will see maybe what happens, because more than likely with the safety car, more than likely predicting a start where we restart going into lap 14, so we'll have one more lap of safety car. I guess we have seen that the mediums do last a little bit longer than we originally predicted, as we've seen that a lot of these drivers were taking the mediums on 10 or 11 laps. So maybe that is the idea for the governor, that maybe going on to the mediums to gain a few more positions, but it's still going to be a little bit of a toss-up, and I'm very interested to see what's going to happen at the start of this restart, because Bruiser got the amazing launch when we started the race, and then was really in the lead up until Harold began to catch up to him. But now here we go off of a safety car restart. I'm very interested to see if Bruiser's going to get as good of a launch as he did the first time.
And just as you were talking, it looks like Project Nemesis had a little oopsie there in the sector 3, but he's deciding to stay out. Granted, he lost the front end plate, but I guess he's saying screw it. He can still keep it on track, and he's got it managed, so he's going to keep on going for it.
And actually, as we were talking, John will pit and replace his broken wing. And also the governor. pitted again and put on the hard compound once again. So maybe he had to pit to fix a broken wing, maybe, and he just did that to switch the tires. But either way, that really hurts him, and he falls down into P15. And yeah, I mean, this is still realistically anyone's race.
Oh, it most definitely is at this point. And I mean, these guys they're not giving up. And I mean, as we saw in the Div 1 race, safety car restarts, it's a thing of, honestly, it's kind of an art form, because you can honestly restart a safety car and lose a lot of positions if you get caught napping or you're not completely set, ready. You know, and safety cars are effectively, it's a perfect time for drivers to kind of sit back, get, catch a breath, take a little small breather, get your ERS, back fully charged, get it 100%, ready to go again, especially for those drivers who they already exhausted that entire ERS supply. So they're running, probably only got 5% out of the whole lap left. So it gave them time to get caught back up. And now here we go, safety cars in this lap.
And it was very late call for the safety car to go in. Mr. Koopa's going to get a 10-second penalty, but because of that late turn in from the safety car, Bruiser did not get that chance to really hold the grid and go when he wanted to. So that means that basically the whole grid is right behind him still.
Yep. And Harold is fully on. I'm pretty sure Harold is in his mind. He's probably looking like, hey, this is my chance. I'm going to go fully on the attack now.
Yeah, and I mean, this is really his opportunity. I mean, everyone is on basically the same strategy. Everyone is on the hard tires to go to the end of the race. So it's going to be very interesting to see. DRS is not enabled for this original lap. So next lap, DRS will be enabled. So we'll see if they can try and hold up. Dr. J will actually pass Mr. Koopa, and Mr. Koopa will fall once again into P12. But despite having no DRS, Harold is right on Bruiser's tail, and H-Town is right behind Harold as well. So, I mean, all of these drivers very close. And now Barry may be going for a move on Nishka. They're still side by side going through Sector 3. Which one is going to be able to hold on to it? And a little bit of contact. That was very scary. Nishka will hold on to P4, and that was way too close for comfort.
Most definitely. I mean, these guys, like I said, these guys are not messing around. They're actually giving it. They're fighting just as hard as Div 1 was, honestly. And I mean, these guys are treating it. They're pretty much. I guess they're in their minds. They're saying, "Hey, I might be Div 2, but I can still move and I can still groove. So here's my shot. Here's how it's gonna go." And as we do know in Rush, the driver's champion of the lower division gets moved into the division above for the following season. So when you think about it, these guys, when you kind of think about it, Div 1's the Formula 1 guys, whereas Div 2, that's your F2 guys that are looking to make a break into Formula 1 at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, in that case, like, literally every point could mean something. So, I mean, like, I agree that they're going to try and move as much as possible. And who else is going to move? It's Harold going to the inside of Bruiser. They're still side by side, but Harold is going to make it stick, and we have a new race leader. Harold was able to make that move stick through Sector 3, and we have a new race leader, as now Bruiser, for the first time in this race, will find him behind Harold. And we'll see if he's going to be able to fight back, as now H-Town is already trying to catch Bruiser. And I mean, DRS is just that powerful, but now Harold is going to be more on the defensive. But it's going to be interesting, as now already maybe Harold making some moves, as he's already a second and a half ahead of Bruiser, maybe doing a little bit better on the hard compound than Bruiser is, as now, yes, he's out of DRS range, so now that's going to give H-Town realistically the best opportunity to catch back up to Bruiser.
Oh, absolutely. And that was one thing I was kind of noticing, is that gap starting to form early. And I mean, you can kind of tell with certain drivers. Some drivers they will perform on no matter the compound, but there are some drivers where they might make their setup and tune it to one specific compound. Some will tune it to the medium, some will tune it to make the softs work for a longer time. Some it's like they get on the hards and it flips a switch and they take off. And it seems like Harold has done exactly that, and he's breaking any kind of chance of Bruiser having a toe, trying to bring H-Town back into that fight to get those two to tangle so he can open that gap a little bit more. But you've got Nishka that's sitting right behind H-Town, even with the 3-second time penalty, that can still be a problem. And even with that time penalty, drivers you shouldn't ever give up because you never know what could happen. The driver in front of you could make a mistake, they could have a couple off tracks, find themselves with a penalty, and now everything's back to null, square one. So now you actually have to fight for the position, not just, oh, it's given based on the time penalty.
Yeah, but the time penalty does come into a factor, and especially when you consider how aggressive some of these drivers will be. Because I mean, I can imagine that Nishka, I was about to say, Nishka's going to be very aggressive, and he's going to get past H-Town as they head into the next DRS zone, into Sector 3, and Nishka's going to secure P3 for right now. And you were talking about it earlier, Bruiser is now catching back up to Harold, so maybe a little bit of a just like initial shock when Harold was able to use the DRS to get around, but now Bruiser is slowly climbing his way back up. And this is kind of what I was talking about in Division 1. Division 1, there was the gap that you saw happen as Bruiser will set the fastest lap. There was the gap that you could see was forming, but then you just saw these drivers that were able to just climb back and fight for the same positions once again after maybe a lap or two. So I mean, it seems that that action is carrying over to Division 2 as well.
Oh, most definitely. And I mean, it seems like what Harold may have done, Harold may have ran his ERS to a point where he had to back off and kind of, switch the settings. He may have had to charge the battery back up, which allowed Bruiser to close up. Because now we see Harold's now opened that gap to what is arguably probably the biggest gap he's had to Bruiser all race. So Harold may full well have it be in command of the lead and not look to give it up. He may very well look to possibly take these hards another 11 laps and get this thing done and notch out his first win here in Rush Racing.
Yeah, and I think that I realistically do think that is what a lot of these drivers want to do. That I could imagine that a lot of these drivers do want to go all the way on the hards, but in the event a safety car comes out, I feel like then that would make it very interesting as to what the drivers would choose to do, whether to try and just survive to the end, or if they would realistically pit for maybe a pair of mediums, or depending on what lap, maybe go on to the softs. But really, you can't rule anything out. I mean, you can really say that you want to go all the way to the end on the compound you have right now. But if the opportunity presents itself, then that's really going to make anything and everything happen.
And I mean, at this point in the race, I mean, we're looking at the governor who found himself a bit out of position, but he's now clawed his way back into the top 10 with that overtake on Ngai, who may have made a mistake, which allowed Governor to get through. But Governor is making good use of those hard tires, and he's working his way back through the grid to try and get back into that top 5. Whereas Nishka is saying, you know what, I've got this, I'm handling business, and here it is. Him and H-Town are getting into it again, and it doesn't look like he's giving up anything here. Nishka's actually ghosted inside of him.
Yeah,
that
that's
tells you how close they are. They're fighting like their lives dependent upon it right now.
Yeah, and I think that might be just a little bit of the EA servers. The EA servers have been acting strangely. That I originally reacted because I saw them as they continued to. I think it's just the glitch. It's a glitch. I don't know if I've ever seen a glitch like that here in F1, but they basically just keep ghosting within each other, trying to take P3. But I don't think I've ever seen glitching quite like this.
This is new to me. Honestly, it's very this is very interesting because I can honestly say I've never actually seen this kind of thing, and it's not like one of them goes ghost, but it's like they both go ghost at the exact same time. Which, I mean, if you know how to drive through a ghosted car, then I mean it's not so much a distraction, but there are a lot of drivers, some I've raced with at times, where going through a ghosted car, even if it's a backmarker ghosted car, it can be very distracting to them and kind of mess them up. But it didn't seem like it really bothered Nishka or H-Town too much, as Nishka now loses the position to Barry
Oh, now he's going with
and
two.
Gianni too. So I don't know if Nishka maybe have some damage going on there. I don't know what exactly may have happened.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure as well. I mean, I don't know. Just very strange, as Barry will move up into P4, Gianni into P5, and Nishka falls down into P6. So I mean, I'm not entirely sure what that whole situation was, but we do enter with roughly 9 laps here left to go, as Bruiser has gotten just to about 1 second behind Harold. So maybe tire wear coming in to be a factor now as we're getting closer to the end of the race.
And I mean, I was kind of looking at the time penalties here. I was just a little curious, and Nishka right now is sitting actually in a good spot where he might want to just say, you know what, I'm gonna sit on this and stay right here, because even with his 3-second penalty, he's got House Spirit in the Sauber right behind, who also has a 3-second penalty, and Rare Ghost behind them with a 9-second penalty. But Rare Ghost, if Dr. J stays where he is, Rare Ghost is gonna lose his position to Dr. J, the governor, and the governor as well, who are well within the 9-second gap to him. Which those two are probably looking at that as, hey, I'm gonna go get this guy, because we got to stay on him, because that's a shot to move up. That's a free position and 3 points.
I had a little bit of, I was gonna say, like talking about keeping up, Gianni actually caught up to Barry and was right behind, but coming out of the last turn had a little bit of a moment and almost spun. Good job by them to save it and keep their car out of the wall, but that was a little close. But now, once again, Bruiser is making up time, as now he's just over half a second behind Harold. So I mean, right now, it looks like right now it's really coming down to Harold or Bruiser to who's going to win this race. H-Town is 4 seconds behind Bruiser, and then Barry is 3 seconds behind H-Town. And now maybe a move there, and Harold holds on. I don't know how in the world Harold was able to hold on there, but Harold will hold on to the lead for right now, but Bruiser is still right behind.
And I was looking at some of these pit stops, and everybody in the top 8, they've all only done a 1 stop. Owl Spirit just pit, and for fresh mediums to take it to the end. Not exactly sure what may have caused that, or he may have just been burning his tires, but everybody in the top 8 has only done a 1 stop. But the governor is still fast approaching, trying to catch up to Rare Ghost. Even with that time penalty on him, Governor's looking to try and make this happen on track and take the position anyway. But you've got a lot of movement today as far as from P3 down, from P4 down. There's been quite a few driver moves, and one that I've been kind of had my eye on is Gianni in the Aston Martin. Harold's teammate has moved up 6 places in this race. And then Rare Ghost also up 6 places. So these guys have actually made quite a few moves. Project Nemesis, unfortunately, dropped 8 places from the start of the race.
But Nemesis, just the boot, actually will, right as you said, that will set the fastest lap. And I mean, talking about Gianni, like you said, gaining 6 positions, and realistically, they are right behind Barry. They are within half a second of Barry. So there's even a chance that they might try and fight and overtake Barry. But I mean, right now it seems that a lot of the drivers have really kind of settled in, that the governor is actually chasing down Rare Ghost, that he is slowly bringing it up. There was a little bit, maybe Dr. J was trying to break the toe, but a little bit of a weird movement there. I thought he crashed for a second. But yeah, I think it's crazy to see how some of these drivers have just gotten so many positions, and some of them, like Gianni, are still fighting for even more. And I mean, if we take into consideration the standings and stuff like that, like considering even constructors, this is a perfect result for Aston Martin. Is things stay where they are, Aston Martin wins the race and gets P5, and that would really put them in first place for constructors as well.
Absolutely, and I was just looking. I was kind of keeping my eye on Hal Spears because I was kind of curious as to why he went in pit, and he made perfect use of those fresh mediums and full sent everything he had to snatch and reset the fastest lap from Project Nemesis to now a 1:19.839, and he also secured the fastest first sector of anybody.
And also, as we were talking, Nishka does end up getting another 3-second time penalty, so his total is now down to 6 seconds. That would put him in P9 behind Zagovner, who, as we were talking, overtakes Rare Ghost, and Zagovner moves up into P8 despite the safety car shenanigans where he had to pit for the tires or fix his wing. He's already back inside the top 10 and up into P8, so a good drive so far by him.
And I think it is quite. I'm not gonna say that it's what's happening, but it may be quite possible that the governor is trying to catch up to Dr. J to possibly help Nishka with that 6-second time penalty, because the governor is right on the outside of that 6-second window at this point, and maybe the governor is trying to possibly catch and put some pressure on Dr. J to back him off of Nishka to try and help Nishka keep that position, because with any two teams that are finishing, in the top 10, that's always a good thing and a good day for points. So he's probably thinking of the team game right now.
Oh, and speaking of the team game, is he going to get it done? And the Aston Martin roars around the outside, and he is going to take, Gianni will take over P4, make it 7 positions gained as he overtakes Barry. That was a very gutsy move to hang around the outside, but they are able to make it stick, and Gianni will move up into P4, and realistically is still just about 5 seconds, but if something else happens, maybe podium is in play. But so far right now, Harold, Bruiser, and H-Town are your stand-in podium, but man, what great moves so far.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with 3 laps left, honestly, I mean, it's at the point where a safety car, that's out of the question. A VSC, I could see a VSC coming in these closing laps, but honestly, I mean, with the drive that Gianni has had today, he's really shown something. I think qualifying may have just caught him out, but as we've seen, drivers can get caught out in qualifying and then just have an absolute masterclass and monster of a race pace where they may lack in the one lap. And Gianni is actually putting that on full display right now while trying to still fend off Barry. And Nishka's now joining into that party and tailing along with him. So that actually kind of is helping Nishka in his case to get away from Dr. J to keep his position at the end of the race regardless of that time penalty.
Oh, and talk about it. Barry had a little bit of a moment. Can Nishka hold on to it? They're side by side. Maybe a little bit of contact, but Barry and Nishka still side by side in sector 3. There's contact. Nishka's around. There's a little bit of contact. I think the wheels just came together. Nishka will be able to recover, and I don't think there is no damage to his front wing, so Nishka will be able to recover, but that's going to erase that 7-second gap that he had, as now Dr. J and Zagovner are behind him.
Yeah, and now the pressure is on in this situation. Nishka's gotta pretty much put the pedal down and just hope for the best. And honestly, I mean, the smart move, at least for me, if I was in comms with my team, with my teammate, and I know my teammate's behind the car that's coming for me, I try to say, hey teammate, juice up the battery. I'm gonna back this guy into you. Help me out here because we're trying to take home some good points. So got a teamwork something going here.
Yeah, and I mean that is going to come down to a test right now, as both the governor and Dr. J have DRS. And Dr. J is chasing down Nishka. He's not going to be able to get the move done on that first corner, but the second DRS zone, we'll see. He does have the battery, but a good job by Nishka to get the good amount of exit. So everything will still remain as it is, as Nishka will still maintain P6 for right now. But, I mean, the governor's right there. So, I mean, this is really going to be a very interesting ending. Still so far in the lead concerns, Harold has now increased the gap to 1.7 seconds ahead of Bruiser. With 2 laps to go, he is in the prime position. And as long as he's able to just be consistent as he has been all race, there's a chance that he is about to win his first ever Rush Racing win, or race win.
Absolutely, and I mean, I was just kind of thinking about something. I mean, I kind of thought about it in a joking manner too. I mean, honestly, Dr. J, he's the old man of the grid, and the old man is actually hanging it out there with these with some of these young guns, and not playing around. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of say honestly, Dr. J is kind of strung together somewhat of an Alonso-esque kind of drive, as Nishka now has opened that gap from DRS of Dr. J, which now kind of, honestly, that may be what he needed for the governor to maybe try and do something to kind of help back Dr. J off.
Yeah, and I mean, they're all still right there. Dr. J still within DRS, and then Governor right behind him with DRS as well. Harold will come across the line and will begin the final lap. Still in first place. Bruiser still trying to do something to close that gap. H-Town has third place secure for right now. Gianni able to break the DRS toe. So Gianni right now has fourth place secured as well, as Barry's in P5. Nishka trying to hold on to P6, and seeing that battle between Dr. J and the governor as well. So far, very close racing. And actually, talking about close racing, we have an Alpine and Howell and the Kick Sauber side by side through the DRS zone, and the Kick Sauber trying to hold on. They're side by side through Sector 1, still going, and they're keeping it as clean as possible. Maybe a little bit of close contact as the Alpine will hold on. Of Rare goes into P9. That was very close.
Absolutely, and I mean, honestly, you can honestly kind of say today, strategy has kind of shown a bit, along with driver pace and racecraft, because these guys they're hanging it all out there to the best they can. And just like that, Dr. J has a 3-second time penalty. So that actually helps Nishka to a kind of, but not really. But the governor, even making 3 stops, has found his way back in the top 10 in P8, and is looking to capture P7, possibly P6 by the end of this race.
And right there, they come to the line, and we'll see where the penalty. Dr. J, the governor, will leapfrog both of them into P6 as they come across the line. Rare goes chasing Howell, but no, Howell will remain in P9. Bookie into actually will go up into P10, overtaking Rare Ghost. Nemesis will go ahead and take over into P11 as well. And then N-Guy and Ben will round out the grid. But the bigger story, Harold will win by 1.5 seconds. And he wins his first ever Rush Racing race. And he did it in great fashion. I mean, he had to chase down Bruiser, first off. And then once he got the lead, he had to hang on to it. He had to do everything possible to hang on to the lead.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, it's been a fantastic race, and these guys, they actually, I'm actually genuinely, I'm pleased with what I'm seeing out of these Div 2 guys. Like they kind of honestly, you could kind of say they may have had a cleaner race than Div 1, and I mean, majority of the grid made it to the end, with the exception of 2. So Div 1's looking pretty. as a seems to be quite the spicy race along with Div 1. So I mean, it's this season's looking, if it's anything like how round one's been, we're in for a treat this season with a lot of action.
Yeah, I do agree that I definitely agree that this race looked like it was definitely cleaner than the Div 1 race, but it was not short of as much drama just because of all the action we saw. All of the drivers being so close together, everything was right there for everyone. So your final stats, your race winner, CF1 Harold will win the race. Howell will get your fastest lap. Gianni will get driver of the day, and then Bookie will get most overtakes. And your final grid is Harold will win, Bruiser in P2, H-Town comes through with the podium in P3, Gianni P4, Barry P5, Zagovernor P6, Dr. J P7, Nishka P8, Howell P9, Bookie P10, Nemesis P11, Ghost P12, N-Guy P13, Ben P14, John P16, Koopa, Tenzo, and Suspension in 16, 17, and 18, rounding out the grid. So that will wrap up the Australia. We will try and get the top 3 if they would be able to join our VC for interviews. But man, what a race.
Oh, absolutely. I'm absolutely ecstatic about this. Like I was a little bit pulling up and splitting and making a second division. I was a little bit like, is this actually gonna work when the idea was first pitched? But looking at it now, it's actually made for better racing. You've got groups together. You don't have guys who are they're feeling like, oh, I'm just gonna get lapped, so I have to give up. Like, these guys actually are sticking it out there and showing why they came here.
Yeah, and I mean, this again with the first race being kind of you don't know really what's going to happen. I think that for the first race ever for Division 2, I think that it went very well. So far, we don't have Harold in here right at the moment. I'm not entirely sure if he can or will join. So we'll start with the 2 people that we have, starting here with Bruiser, who came home in P2. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. It was a good race. Although I wasn't expecting the other guy to pass me because he came out of nowhere. But
yeah, and I mean, despite Division 2 wasn't as chaotic as the first race. So I guess it's kind of another question where Division 1 had 3 safety cars and a VSC. This one had 1 singular safety car. So I guess, how did you feel, especially coming off of that restart when Harold caught up to you?
It kind of sucked with the safety car because I was getting a pretty good gap, and then safety car kind of wiped that.
Yeah, just definitely not at the best moment for the safety car to come out, and then it didn't really help you on the restart either.
No, definitely not. And I wasn't able to get up to speed as fast as I wanted to with the safety car.
Yeah, that is one thing that we did call out on the broadcast, that me and Wildcat were both kind of shocked at how quick the safety car pulled off, because we were expecting it to go another lap, and then it just pulled off and all of a sudden you had to go. So I do sympathize with you there. I guess my last question for you, first race ever for Division 2, coming home on the podium. Definitely a fantastic start to the season. How do you think this really set the tone for you for the rest of the season?
Feeling pretty good. I think if I can do this time after time again, I'm pretty sure I'll be in the top contender.
And
boost my confidence.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that sentiment, is that getting that out of the way getting the first race out of the way, and especially having such a good result as you did, can definitely help boost your confidence.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I will let you go, Bruiser, in case you need to leave. But thank you so much for coming in for the interview, and congratulations on the podium and the P2.
Thank you very much.
And that means that we move on to the Houston native himself, who commentated in the Division 1 race.
Yo.
H-Town, how are you feeling after that race?
It's my first top 10 finish in NA, actually. I've had really bad luck in NA last season. Especially being on the same grid with Wildcat, you just never know what's going to happen. So I'm just really glad that I got to finish in the top 3 for the first race.
So despite the shade being thrown, again, same sort of questions that I want to ask to you that I asked Bruiser, that you were in P3, you were jostling around the podium for most of all the race. How did that safety car kind of affect you as well as it did the other leaders?
That safety car actually kind of saved me. Nishka pit the lap before me, and he was gonna undercut me. Right as I was about to pass the pit, it came. So all three, the top 3 just turned in there, and we got to keep our position and get a free pit stop out of it. The top 2 were just faster than me, more consistent, but it gives me a target. So hopefully I can do some good things this season.
Yeah, and I really think that from what we saw in this race, I really do think that Division 2 is going to not only be fun to watch, but I do think that is going to be very consistent and very good racing overall. And I will ask you same thing. You just said that this was your first top 10 in NA, and you got P3, you got the podium on your first race of the new season. How do you feel that sets the tone for you for the rest of the season?
Well, I'm the second loser, so I got a lot of work to do.
So moral for H-Town, still hungry, and honestly, I cannot wait to see how the rest of the races are going to go. I really think that Bruiser, Harold, you, H-Town, and several others are really going to make I really think that this division will be a lot of fun to watch. And I will I will let you go if you need to go, if you need to do anything. But thank you for coming in for the interview, H-Town, and congratulations on the podium.
Of course. Can I just say a couple things? Me and Nishka were having a great battle, and then somehow we ghosted into each other. I don't know if that was caught on stream.
Yes, that is something that we did notice. And if you do, for all the viewers, if you guys want to go back and watch these streams, you can on Twitch, or if you want to subscribe to the Rush Racing YouTube, you can see it. But me and Wildcat both saw that. We aren't entirely sure what happened, but we did in fact see that.
Can I just say, driving with another car ghosted into you, I've never done that before in my life. It was so wild.
I can imagine that it would be a very strange experience. But we're gonna go ahead.
Next race, I'm gonna try my hardest to commentate and race at the same time. Never been done before.
I don't know if we're gonna allow that. We will see. But that is for another day and another race. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Thank you to H-Town for commentating the Division 1 race. Thank you to Wildcat for commentating with me in the Division 2 race. We will be back. And I believe that the next race here for NA will be the Chinese Grand Prix, January 31st. Mark your calendars. You guys want to be here and see all of the exciting action that North America and Europe have to offer. I hope that everyone has a great day, a great night, depending on where you guys are in the world. My name is GameHawk. I've been your host here for today's races, and I will see you guys for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Well, don't expect me to be on the podium.